become too painful to bear. Danny and I have so many discussions about script length that it gets ridiculous. This is the latest from Danny. I don't know if you can hear the infidels. The infidels are absolutely back with their drilling today. Dear Simon, another script completed. You might think on first glance that this script looks a bit long, and you might think that on second glance too. And that's because it is a bit long. Bloody hell, Danny. You're gonna make me be here forever. These videos are getting outrageously long, and I know they take you longer to write. Anyway, whatever, this video is brought to you by the legends over at Squarespace. I'm seeing if I can open up my ad copy before I get to the point where I have to stop talking, and I absolutely can. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence to run your business. Check them out through the link in the description below. Don't be an infidel, be a supporter of Squarespace. Squarespace probably gonna be like, Simon, please don't use the word infidel in our ad reads. Infidels. This video is Funny Amazon Reviews, part 4, Hell's Pantry. Danny, if we haven't covered the sugar-free gummy bears in this episode, the people who watch Business Plays, about 4% of them are gonna finally have that stroke that pushes them over the edge to death or coma. I'm not usually one to complain, but there are times when the customer service in the basement leaves a lot to be desired. Danny, why would you expect customer service? Sam and I were left hanging. People are often like, doesn't Simon work in a basement? And it's like, yeah, my office space is like a semi-basement area. And people are like, so what layer? Where's Danny and Sam if you're in the basement? And my stock response is always, I have a Prince of Persia level basement. I mean, I was playing that game again because we had a sponsor who made the thing that you can connect your Sega Mega Drive to the TV. And I was playing this, and I'm like, oh my god, this dude, this prince, or he's the guy who puts him in the basement, the Sultan or whoever, he has the biggest basement that I've ever seen in my life. Ought to be a right nightmare. If you're that dude and you're like, I really need a bottle of wine, you gotta like work, there's all these traps and shit, you're like, Sam and I were left hanging around at the breakfast table for hours yesterday morning. I was getting slowly driven mad by his insistence on passing the time by giving me yet more expert advice on why I should be investing all of my basement mushrooms into BitConnect. When the breakfast finally arrived, we discovered that the coffee was lukewarm and had suspicious croutons bobbing around in it, and the toast was burnt to a crisp, and the sausages had clearly been fried in beard blaze oil again. Yes! And if you are thinking, I need some oil for my beard. It does a lot of good things. For me, I put it in this morning like I do every morning. A couple little drops in my hands, and it just gets all those little stray hairs. It keeps it all nice. Then I use a beard brush, and that's how this looks so neat. You might have noticed recently that my beard has got shorter. That's because every once in a while, my wife is like, you need to shave your beard. You look homeless. And I'm like, yeah, even the beard oil can't save you from not shaving. Or trimming your beard, I guess is the correct vernacular. After we'd picked out the edible bits and then called for the waiter to collect our plates, Sam and I went through our usual morning joke of suggesting to each other that we would never come back to this lousy, stinking joint in a million years. Then we sank to the floor and wept uncontrollably to lunchtime. I'm gonna have some issues one day because whoever the I live in Czech Republic, whoever their equivalent of workplace health and safety are, they're gonna come knocking and be like, we think you're joking, but we just need to make sure. Back in the olden days, we used to pick up the crumbs of comfort by firing up the Commodore 64 and lurching very slowly onto Amazon to drool over the pictures of the kind of food that we would dream of ordering if only we had any money, or a letterbox, or a postal service, or freedom. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Have you ever had a dream that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
And if nothing else, the reviews would often cheer us up a bit. This has become noticeably harder to do ever since Sam insists, this is the lot, Danny, you're like, why do the scripts get so long? Because the first 4 pages are a largely fictional, allegedly, introduction. This has become noticeably harder to do ever since Sam insisted on putting the Wi-Fi router in a Faraday cage and painting the walls of the basement in anti-5G shielding paint, and also just covering every inside joke that we've had on Business Plays for the last 6 months. But it would be nice to look back at some of the most memorable reviews we stumbled across for this cuisine-themed entry into the Funny Amazon Reviews series, and maybe even we'll get to the Haribo sugar-free gummy bears this time. I get the feeling we're not going to. Danny, we're going to get to the end and Danny's going to be like, tune in next time, and then I have to deal with the internet's hate. I mean, increased hate. As someone who makes videos on the internet, dealing with the internet's hate is just a part of my life. And when we don't do the sugar-free gummy bears, I don't even know what's wrong with them, but my life is gonna be progressively more miserable if we don't tackle them today, Danny. Please, for the love of God. It's quite remarkable how many people feel compelled to write up in-depth reviews on the most basic of groceries. You wouldn't usually expect customers to get into a lather about something as simple as, say, milk. But the reviews for Tuscan whole milk developed into perhaps one of the earliest and most famous examples of online critics getting into a playful mood with the concept of Amazon reviews, partly inspired by the fact that the gallon of $4 milk was once inexplicably marked up to $75 for an unfathomably long time. But maybe it was worth the few extra dollars. Can you really just buy milk on Amazon? I've never bought fresh groceries on Amazon. How does that arrive? Is it in like a cool box, or is it like UHT, like long life milk? What's going on?
Here's your milk!
Ariel Krieger revealed, "My wife gave birth to our firstborn son in a bathtub filled with Tuscan whole milk, and she felt no pain at any stage. He's now 5 years old and is completing his PhD in quantum biomechanics." I know quantum mechanics is a thing. Is quantum biomechanics a thing? Anyway, Ariel. Another anonymous customer added, "I cannot say that Tuscan whole milk was entirely responsible for my winning the Sveriges Riksbank." Is that what the Nobel Prize is actually called? The Sveriges Riksbank Nobel Prize in Economic Scientists. However, it would be remiss of me not to mention it. Tammy Morningstar, that sounds like a fake name if I ever heard one, proposed an alternative use for the milk. "I found that mixing 1/2 of water with 1/2 cup of Tuscan milk and a teaspoon of salt makes a saltwater-like liquid with a white color that really serves no practical function whatsoever." Brilliant, Tammy! Brilliant! Where's your Nobel Prize? However, when applied to tough and stubborn stains on clothing and upholstery, scrubbing with a coarse brush will not remove the stain, but it will give you the satisfaction of knowing you tried really hard. The mysterious VR was less than impressed with his purchase though. "I had a problem where my roof was leaking. I poured some Tuscan whole milk over it to seal it up, and it just flowed right into the hole and didn't do anything. What a bloody waste of money, right? I now have the milk constantly dripping down from the ceiling and it has stained the drywall as well. The milk trapped in the ceiling is now rancid and it smells horrible. What have you done, VR?" It has also induced a pest infestation problem. "The pest control company won't deal with it because the odor is unbearable in the house. My wife and children are leaving me as well. No! The product has ruined my life. Do not buy this product. I suggest some reef caulking or tar instead." The product hasn't ruined your life, VR. Why would you pour it on your roof? Tuscan whole milk actually inspired hundreds of brilliantly creative reviews, including quite epic works of literature and even a collection of deeply profound poetic pieces. Really? Why haven't we featured those? It's interesting that Amazon didn't immediately see the funny side though, and initially deleted most of them. Oh, Amazon, you spoil sport. They were later reinstated when Amazon appeared to realize that comical reviews might just have a tendency to go a bit viral, and this is perhaps the exact point where the floodgates for witty customer reviews were really opens up for the first time. And to everyone's joy and my joy, because also I can make videos about them and make money. Yay! Which I'll then spend on Amazon. The circle continues. Economics is weird. And that turned out to be good news for cheese fans. What does? Oh, opening the floodgates. Good. Provolone is a northern Italian cheese often considered to be the older brother of mozzarella, and it's quite difficult to get your hands on the more mature and spicy variant known as picante in the United States. For the Gourmet was one of the few brands. Oh, okay, so For the Gourmet is the brand. Was one of the few brands offering a whole cheese wheel of this rare delicacy on Amazon, but it appeared that most customers took umbrage with the misleading product description. Sharp provolone picante cheese whole wheel. A review from Thomas A. Ertman titled "Not Technically a Wheel" briefly highlighted the problem. This should be called a cylinder of cheese. Lasted 2 seconds on my Corolla, and the whole thing came apart on the highway. Jesus Christ. It's probably a really expensive wheel as well. Russell Simpson offered up a more expansive slice of embarrassment. "I'm still recovering from the weekends when I was the laughingstock of the entire Mariposa County cheese rolling Rollapalooza. I purchased this cheese wheel as a last-minute replacement for my trusty £75 pecorino wheel, which got defaced by local youths. Still, I was looking forward to chasing a lighter wheel down the hill. This would give me more dynamic control over the direction of the roll. On the morning of the competition, imagine my distress when, dressed proudly in my regional colours and nearly new cleats, I unwrapped the package to find out it to be an oval-shaped cheese. This is not a wheel. Repeat, it's not a wheel. It's an oval. Well, a wheel doesn't necessarily have to be round. I mean, I understand it's not going to be very practical if it isn't, but wheel doesn't, you could have a square wheel. It's still a wheel, a piece of wheel, but that would be a circle. Needless to say, you can imagine the rest, which was broadcast live on local TV and one internet channel. Note, the comments below the video are disgusting and defamatory. That is just like so on point for like someone complaining about like something on the internet being like, this is disgusting and it's defamatory. And it's like, one, you've not seen disgusting, and two, you don't know what defamatory means. This is not a competition, cheese. Avoid. If anyone wants it, I abandoned it in a rage at the bottom of Greeley Hill, Mariposa County on Sunday afternoon. From the 49 north, take the 132 east. It should still be okay. Rolling swiftly on, I see why this is so long. There's many reviews. Neither Sam nor I had any good reason to invest in a portable outdoor food container, but the pizza pouch sounded like a fun idea for those people who have a chance to get out and about. As the name suggests, the product was simply a little pouch big enough to carry an emergency slice of pizza, complete with a detachable lanyard. What the f***? You go to a conference, you got your ID badge, your slice of pizza, boom! An ideal purchase when you're worried you might get a bit peckish during trips to the cinema, the waiting room of the barbers, and funerals, but you don't want to commit to the full-on Scooby-Doo lunchbox. The pizza pouch wasn't quite to everyone's taste. JB declared this product would receive a 5-star rating if it had held slices that weren't meant for a 4-year-old child. I used it while tubing down a river with friends while slamming some beers. Legend. And also, JB is an ultimate name for slamming beers. It's like, what do you imagine a dude who's got the name JB does? He slams beers. The pizza remained dry, but I was still hungry. Maybe consider making different sizes. This size and a size that isn't meant for little girls. But Silver Craze was a bit more positive. Every morning, I get up and slip a pizza into the pouch and wrap it around my neck. Life couldn't be any better. I finally have followers on all my social media accounts. I've been invited to join book clubs. You're gonna get those books all greasy though, aren't you, Silver? If that is your real name. Silver Craze, please. I even have a BFF for the first time ever. The dog even wants to be my friend. Also, the pizza aroma covers up my natural body odor. Oh, it doesn't though. You just can't smell your natural body odor. You just smell the pizza. Everyone else just smells that weird pizza smell with your body odor. And I know this for a fact. Because I went on it was like a 12-day cycling trip. I rode 100 miles every day and I didn't shower once. I once swam in a river to make myself smell better. And I was like, wow, I can't believe after 12 days I don't smell. And then I realized, oh no, I absolutely stink like a wild animal. And not like one of those clean wild animals, but like a dirty, smelly one, like a badger or a skunk. Don't a badger smell? I just like the word badger. And I was like, oh no, I do smell, I just can't smell it anymore. On that same trip, I was sitting outside a Sainsbury's, eating a rotisserie chicken, and someone tried to give me money thinking I was homeless. It was slightly embarrassing. Another Amazon customer recalled how the pizza pouch turned out to be a lifesaver. Oh, after he was left for dead for a while, hiking the Appalachian Trail. It's a bizarre coincidence. I haven't hiked the Appalachian Trail because that implies you spent like 6 months hiking it. I did it for a couple of weeks. It was alright. My friends abandoned me when I was engrossed in the latrine building. Engrossed in? Like, what does that mean? Like, you were stuck in there? You were just fascinated by it? I was near starvation when I recalled my lucky pizza pouch hanging inevitably from my neck. I was able to ration bites from my well-done mushroom, pepper, and onion supplemental slice until help arrived. I wasn't even hungry when they brought me back to civilization. Thank God. Although eating in a latrine is like the last shit. Oh, maybe he was, not in the latrine building. He was engrossed in building a latrine. Not equally bad, because at least it hasn't been used already. So Sam and I might be starved of pizza and good food and heating and basic essentials. You have heating. You're chained to radiators, boys. It's not like I don't turn them on. Wait, do I turn them on? But we do occasionally get Lucky Strike cigarettes pushed through the bars of the basement door. That's not ideal for Sam as he doesn't smoke, but they sometimes make for a light evening snack. Nasty. This video is being interrupted by an ad, and that ad is going to be glorious because it's by a glorious sponsor called Squarespace. Mwah. You guys have heard me talk about Squarespace so much that if you have some reason to build a website, start a blog, sell something online, and you haven't started it with Squarespace yet, well, honestly, I'd say like, what are you doing? But you're probably not going to, because you're probably just lazy, you don't care about success, you don't care about life, you don't want to fulfill your dreams with a website. This is what you call the hard sell, and it's not actually what I'm supposed to be doing, and they'll make me redo it if I probably continue shaming people into buying Squarespace. So let's actually talk about the positive things about Squarespace. Mwah! I should stop that, it moves my script. The world is yours with Squarespace. What does that mean? Oh, it's the perfect tool for helping you to fashion a website into whatever you want it to be. It's the, all caps, the platform to use when you're ready to get started on that web project that you've been thinking about. Nay, I say, that web project you have been dreaming about. You looking to get in and out quickly? Are you like, Building a website sounds like a massive pain. Well, it's not with Squarespace. You just select one of their beautiful templates. And you're like, that is beautiful. I want my website to look like that, but less filled with stock photos and random names and more filled with my And that is very easy to do. What you do is you click on that. It's like, okay, here's your template. And you're like, grand. And then you go in and you're like, click on that image, you replace it with your own image. Click on that text, you replace it with your own text. You're like, I'd like a portfolio there. Click on the portfolio button and it is done. I have built multiple websites with Squarespace. It doesn't even say that here, I have. I built a website for one of my channels. I built a website for myself. I made a website for my wife's design business. And she was like, my old website's a bit shit. And I was like, it is, indeed. It's not with Squarespace. It's with a competitor that I'm not going to mention. But I will remake it for you, dear wife, for a small fee. No, I did it for free, and it literally took me half an hour. I looked at her old website, I was like, I like that, I don't like that. I went into Squarespace, I found a template that looked kind of similar, I clicked on it, and then I replaced all the stuff, and it was very easy. And then I moved over her domain, which was slightly complicated, but guess what? Squarespace has 24/7 support, and unrelated, so did my other domain host who I did it with previously. I don't know if I should, they're not a competitor, they're the people you get the domain off like that. You can get your domain with Squarespace, which you should do, but I got it like back in the day off someone else, and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be a nightmare. But they both had good support, and they both figured it out, and it was like, big brains. Not me. Squarespace's 24/7 support, guys. Get your shit together. Get Squarespace. If you haven't got it already, I'm extremely disappointed. Unless you don't need a website, then I'm not disappointed. I'm just disappointed in your lack of Squarespace. I'm just disappointed in your life choices. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go I should do this properly. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch your new site, go to squarespace.com/blaze to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Again, squarespace.com/blaze to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain, and let's get back to it. Wildly long. My ad guy the other day was like, Simon, I appreciate you, the guy who finds the ads and does all the negotiations and all that stuff, because I'm a terrible businessman. And he's like, Simon, you're doing these like 5-minute ad reads and they should be 60 seconds. And I'm like, wait, why are you complaining? And he's like, well, because the advertisers will get used to it and they'll be like, you only gave us 4 minutes.
Daddy, chill.
Oh, I should get my As far as I can make out, you can still buy cigarettes in the United States with distinctive cool branding and without being made to feel like a dodgy criminal. Oh, you can still buy cigarettes in the Czech Republic, where I live, with the branding still on them. It looks really nice. They're hidden away in these weird boxes now, so you can't see them in the store. But you can still get, like, it still says Marlboro on the front, and then underneath there's a person, with throat cancer. So, okay. Can you imagine an alien lands on Earth and sees that we have products, and they walk into like a store that sells cigarettes, and they look behind the counter, and it's like, what? Wait, what's that? That's a cigarette. Yeah. It's really addictive. You smoke it. But why are they putting a picture of cancer on the front of it? It's like, oh, well, the government mandates that they have to do that. You're like, why the doesn't the government just ban it? The answer is money and lobbying. As far as freedom. That's a far cry from the UK and just over half of the rest of the world, where all cigarette packets and stores are hidden from display behind a closed shutter, and all the different brands are forced to share identical packaging, displaying a giant health warning alongside photographs of rotting guns and dead babies, truth, and people with giant holes in their necks. They were very different in the 1990s, but I do remember one cigarette brand which took a refreshingly honest approach to the packaging and branding. Between 1991 and 1999 in the UK, you could buy cigarettes simply called Death. Jesus Christ, which featured macabre black packaging and a grinning skull on the front. They were very briefly popular with punks and rebels and people who wanted to look particularly cool when reaching in their pockets for a cancer stick, allegedly. The Death Lights brand didn't really take off though, and the company was buried at the end of the decade when they suddenly noticed they were losing £1 million a year. Suddenly noticed. I feel like if this business started losing money, my accountant would be fairly quickly like, Simon, you're absolutely losing money at an absolute record pace. And I'll be like, well, we should change something. But I feel Death Wish Coffee is aiming at a similar sort of target demographic. Oh my god, when I said I need a really strong coffee, like there should be a coffee that is just strong and doesn't taste like some single source weird tea tasting hipster shit. People are like, Death Wish Coffee, Simon. Death Wish Coffee. And I couldn't find it easily on the internet. I mean, obviously, if I was in America, people would be like, you just buy it on Amazon, it's there in 5 minutes. And I couldn't find it easily available, so I don't have that yet. Please don't send it to me, because it will just get sent back. Like, people send me shit, and if it's like, I get a letter from customs, and they're like, hey, your package is there. All you do now is need to pay us $117, fill out 17 forms, and an affidavit signed by 2 people who are members of society. You don't have to do all that. It's complicated and expensive, and I just leave it there and it gets returned to sender. This is not just normal coffee. It's apparently the world's strongest coffee, presented in a sinister black package with one of those skulls on the front. Oh god, the skulls! Clearly only the hardcore crowd should even attempt to take a sip of this deeply intense beverage. And many of the Amazon reviews were clearly impressed. Eric W. wrote, I'm sold. I bought this to keep me alert and focused at work. My second cup, I no longer needed a keyboard or mouse as I was able to control my computer directly by thought. By the third cup, I could hear colors and smell sounds. And after my fourth cup, I decided to burn off some of the excess energy with a quick jog and ended up finishing the Kessel Run in 11 parsecs flat. Seriously, buy this stuff. What is the Kessel Run and what is a parsec? Isn't a parsec like a distance in space? Kyle Wagoner added, interested in starting off your day with a bang? Perhaps even a heart attack? This is the coffee for you. I was spending a fortune on cocaine and amphetamines. But now I'm saving thousands of dollars a year to switch to jet fuel coffee. Your drug dealer will hate it, but your wallet and firing synapses will love it. Hell yes, although I don't think it's ever going to compete with the true glory of cocaine, allegedly. Another Amazon customer revealed, got this several weeks ago, finished the first pot, and then rebuilt the motor in my Chevelle while it was running, while riding my Harley, and reloading ammo. Wife wanted a cup, but the coffee maker jumped off the counter, beat the refrigerator like a JV wrestler, and then ran off yelling something about destroying ISIS. 12 out of 10 will purchase again. Honestly, anything that destroys ISIS, win, right? Meanwhile, a review titled From the Halls of Valhalla to Your Lips concluded with these compelling thoughts. In the 5 days hence, I've had to shave 10 times. My shirts don't fit, and my friends do not recognize me for my rippling, Adonis-like physique. I hold 3 full-time jobs, have built 2 homes with my bare hands, and have sired a dozen children. Perhaps man was not meant to ascend to lofty heights so quickly. Perhaps the brand name of this brew is less a boast and more a warning. Perhaps. Oh, it's so dramatic, I love it. But the spectre cannot reach me now, not so long as I keep the pot hot and the filter cleaned. Thank you, Death Wish Coffee. Thank you for making me all I could be, and all I should not. That is one of my favorite reviews so far. It's funny, but it's also very nicely written. For now, let's skip the surprisingly large collection of opposing views which claim that the only reason Death Wish Coffee might seem strong is because the instructions tell you to put 2.5 tablespoons of the damn stuff in your mug, and even the weakest, shittiest coffee will probably have a reasonably strong taste with those measures. That is a super strong. You're doing 2 tablespoons for each cup? We don't have real mugs or tablespoons in the basement anyway. We do have thousands of solo cups though. Those are everywhere in my office because someone decided to mail those to me. As Simon uses the basement to store his excess stacks of these distinctive thick red polystyrene cups. They're not polystyrene, they're just regular plastic. I just imagine polystyrene is that lighter stuff. Sam and I often use them for games of flip cup and beer pong. Where are you getting beer, guys? I don't think I just give you Everclear. I don't think solo cups are quite as well known anywhere outside the US, and I was never really that familiar with the brands, but this brilliant review from RN soon put me straight. I order these cups every couple of months. They are way better at holding water than my hands. I mean, with my hands I can hold maybe 4 or 5 ounces of water, and I have to wash my hands really well before I do it. And no matter how well I wash my hands, they always seem to leave a distinctive taste in the beverage. Maybe it's the soap I use. Either way, these cups are way more convenient. No more sitting at home on the couch with one hand holding a tub of popcorn with a corn dog in it, the other hand holding a mere 4 ounces of soda to help wash all of that down. I used to just eat most of my meals by the sink or just drink straight out of a 2-litre bottle. But I felt it was classless. Yeah, what are you going to do? You take the 2-litre bottle, pour it into your hand and sip out of that? Classy. One product that baffled me for a long time was a tin of unicorn meat, sold by Radiant Farms. There's obviously a gag here somewhere because you shouldn't really be able to purchase a tin of genuine unicorn meat because unicorns are not real. It's impossible to catch them because they're way too quick. Yet the product listing on Amazon never really states what was inside the tin. It claims that it contained 14 ounces of unicorn meat imported from County Meath, Ireland, and that it was easily spreadable and that it was still awaiting approval from the FDA. This must be one of those things that you buy, and it says not for human consumption, when absolutely people are going to humanly consume this. It was only when sifting through the question and answer section that I realized what you were actually buying was a dismembered unicorn soft toy ripped into loads of little pieces so that it fits inside the can. That's actually pretty clever. A customer named Garfield the cat seemed happy enough with the purchase. This is the perfect accessory to go with my daughter's surprise Christmas present of My Little Pony abattoir. Oh, I fucking love it when they get darker. Like, I really hope there's if Sam, I don't know, just Google image search My Little Pony abattoir, and if something comes up, Star Trek's George Takei joins in on the gag with his own words of wisdom. Have we had a George Takei Amazon review before? I feel like we have. Unfortunately, I found this unicorn meat brand to be quite similar to Spam, both in texture and blandness. I'd been hoping for that zestier kick that comes from the rump cuts of other mythical and fantastical creatures such as griffins or centaurs. For the latter, serve the back half of the creature with guests, or it gets awkward. Apparently, as Dateline recently reported, farmed unicorns were force-fed mostly genetically modified grains rather than their natural diet of Skittles and ecstasy pill. Legends. California, in fact, is ready to ban the practice and sale of such meat by referendum. Moreover, certain European countries were caught mixing in regular horse meat. Yes, disgusting. So you never really know how pure the unicorn is. I say stick with fresh. I highly recommend Tom Riddle brand unicorn steaks, which arrive oozing with restorative blood. Ground into patties, they make a great burger. All right, George. I mean, it was really a long review. It was reasonably funny, but my favorite, not as funny as the unicorn abattoir line, that was a zinger. But my favorite brief summary was from the pen of Irma Gerd, who reports, "Do not eat too much of this stuff at once. I had the rainbow runs for a week. The entire complex smelled like hopes and dreams." Speaking of the runs, I suppose it's time we touched upon the legendary, we're there! We're actually doing it! Haribo sugar-free gummy bears from 2012. They weren't actually around for very long, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out why. Taking the sugar out of candies may seem like a natural step in this increasingly health-conscious age of Pepsi Max, alcohol-free Heineken, and Death Light cigarettes. The health-conscious choice, allegedly. But you obviously need to replace the sugar in candies with a suitable alternative. Otherwise you'll just feel like you're snacking on a packet of fun-shaped slug trails. Ugh. Haribo chose to go with the hydrogenized syrup known as lyocin, which largely consists of a sugar alcohol called maltitol. Sugar alcohol sounds a lot like sugar. And also awesome. And the problem with malitol is that it's not fully digestible, so it begins to ferment in your gut. If I know anything about fermenting in the gut, people are going to get drunk. But I have a feeling like from my vague people are, anytime someone's like, where the sugar-free, I just ignore it. But I think it's got something with giving people the shits. I thought, but I'm probably wrong. You're probably okay if you just eat a few of these sugar-free gummy bears at once, but when you eat about 15 or so in one sitting, I mean, they're not big. I could easily smash 15 sugar-free gummy bears. It can lead to some distressing side effects. And who in their right mind would open a packet of candies and just eat a couple? Not any of these poor souls. Here's just a spattering of some of the finest reviews ever to be posted through the aching back door of Amazon. Oh god. I ate 6 of these things to aid indigestion. The good news is my digestive system is back on track. The bad news is I will never eat another gummy bear, and I may have flushed part of my soul down the toilet. So it is with giving people the runs. What's the fermentation got to do with anything? Oh god, this is a long one. Here we go. Not long after eating 20 of these, all hell broke loose. I had a gastrointestinal experience like nothing I'd ever imagined. Cramps, sweating, bloating beyond my worst nightmare. I've had food poisoning from some bad shellfish, and it was almost like a skip in the park compared to what was going on inside me. Then came the flatulence. Heavens to Murgatroyd. The sounds, the trumpets calling the demons back to hell. The stench, like 1,000 rotten corpses vomited. I couldn't stand to stay in one room for fear of succumbing to my own odors. Why do you just have to live outside until it's all past? I swear my sphincters were screaming. What came out of me felt like someone tried to funnel Niagara Falls through a coffee straw. What's a coffee straw? Is that a special type of straw? I swear my sphincters were screaming. I felt like my delicate starfish was a gaping maw projectile vomiting a torrential flood of toxic waste. Dude, your delicate starfish? Is that you describing your arsehole? What the f***? I felt violated when it was over, which I think might have been sometime in the early morning of the day. Stuff was coming out of me that I ate at my wedding in 2005. A delicious treat that should be enjoyed only after the following preparations have been made. 1. make sure it's a Friday and cancel all weekend plans. For good measure, go ahead and call it in for Monday. Number 2, call the city and make sure your water bill is paid in full. Number 3, visit your local hardware store and purchase a sink attachment for your garden hose. This toilet paper will quickly become too painful to bear. Give advance notice to family members, roommates, and neighbors, unless you're keen on trying to give birth to a crushed watermelon while convincing your local SWAT team that both the screaming and demonic noises coming from you and a dynamic entry would only bring about more needless suffering. Number 5, redo your restroom in motivational pictures with slogans like "Courage is fear, hanging on 1 minute longer," the only easy way was yesterday, etc. I also advise posting up the suicide prevention number or having a dedicated friend or other support group walk you through the low times. It's like doing these gummy bears. It's like you need a trip sitter, like someone to go through the journey with you and be sober and okay. Although how they're going to deal with the demonic noises and smells, Lord knows. Lastly, I must strongly urge you to consider why you are thinking of buying this product. Is it a sense of deep self-loathing? A reckless sense of adventure? Are you researching dysentery? Perhaps you are the drill sergeant of some extreme commando unit seeking to break down the enemy's will to fight by airdropping these into their midst. If you're just curious, then let me say, oh, hello, fellow human. Beware. For this, life is dangerous enough. Next time I want a thrill, I'll skydive without a parachute. That way at least I'll have a chance. Fucking hell. I stupidly left a bag of these smiling assassins out by accident during a power cut. Unfortunately, the dog found them and consumed them. The kitchen now looks like a post-nuclear battlefield. I would therefore suggest, dear consumer, to keep gummy bears well away from dogs and people. Best keep them in the bank vault in someone else's house. People have bank vaults in their houses. Be sure to also buy a tub of OxyClean to get the blood and diarrhea stains out of your underwear, clothes, furniture, pets, loved ones, and ceiling fan.
My house is full of shit! He shit everywhere! Look what he did! He shit all over the wall!
These reviews were no joke. I figured everybody was trying to one-up each other. I was wrong. I ate a few handful of these little bastards, and a couple of hours later, I was unleashing hell itself on my poor toilet. Good thing my date cancelled tonight. Nothing kills the mood more than shitting out your insides. Oh my god. Oh god. Shout out to his family. Woo! The office people and supervisors at work pooped all day. It was awesome. Maybe now they'll stay out of other people's food. But to end on a lighter, non-diarrhea based note, one of my favourite brief reviews to feature on Amazon concerned a lovely little electronically yodeling pickle. This is another product from Archie McPhee, who have a reputation for creating wacky gifts to send to people that you don't really like. They were the mighty brains behind the Handapants phenomenon. In this case, it's just a simple green battery-operated plastic pickle which bursts into a yodel when you press the button. That's actually quite funny. But Jenny Lynn wins top prize with her brief recommendation. My 12-year-old niece asked for the Justin Bieber CD for Christmas, so I bought her this yodeling pickle. Nobody so far can tell the difference. I've told my Justin Bieber story before, haven't I? Where I was like, everyone loves Justin Bieber. No, that is a massive overstatement. Justin Bieber is popular. Lots of people listen to his music. I saw on Spotify, it was like hundreds of millions, and I'm like, the music I listen to has like a few thousand. It's like 60,000, 100,000. Justin Bieber's just hundreds of millions. And I'm like, what the f***? And so I listened to it, and it's horrific.
Shit everywhere.
It's allegedly. Just that's all I want to say, and I believe I've told this story before, but it's just nonsense. Jenny Lynn wins a bumper box of Haribo sugar-free gummy bears and a pack of deluxe toilet rolls, a stomach pump, and a lifetime supply of Death cigarette. Woo! This has been an episode of Business Blaze brought to you by your boy with the blade. No, it's brought to you by Squarespace, actually. Also, check Squarespace out below. Oh my god, the ad was so long ago, I've forgotten what Squarespace is about. If you'd like to get a shirt, smash the dislike button, purchasethemerch.co. If you'd like to blaze your beard, beardblaze.com for some fine beard oils. Thank you for watching.